What if Deku was sent to the seven deadly sins universe? I never did this sound that much in like one sentence. Anyway, I will be redoing What If Deku. Well, I'm redoing What If Pokemon were in My Hero today, but that's not replacing my anime, not my anime, but that's not replacing my Alien X What If. I'm gonna do that right after this. So that person, chill out. No, not that person, but I'm talking about Little Lad. Yeah, Little Lad, chill out. I'm gonna get it out today. So I'm redoing my Pokemon Academy after I do Alien X, which should be easy. He has pretty simple abilities. So we continue our story off with Deku getting ready to square up with the seven deadly sins. So, basically, Deku, he's charging at the seven deadly sins, which Meliodas, Bon, and King are charging at him, as Deku basically throws a punch that connects with Bon, knocking him just knocking him like far. He like home run that person. Bon is gone. So, not gone. I'm saying that when Deku threw a punch at Bon, I'm gonna say like a tornado spawned like right behind Bon. So Bon was basically just being ripped to shreds. So Deku was like, useless one. As King launches a bunch of his chastity folds at Deku, and Deku's just basically, he throws his sword up and it starts to spin rapidly as he's basically, he's deflecting all of those. And Deku's like pathetic as then he steps on the ground, disappearing and punching King in the face. As then he's like, one more. As Meliodas, he's like, alright, time to end this. As Deku he basically points his hand up into the sky, which then a cloud appears, and electricity starts to spark, and then Deku's like, I forgot what that move was called. I'm just gonna say that I forgot what the move was called. I'm just gonna say that it's called, I'm gonna say it's called Piercing Lightning. So Deku's like piercing lightning as he snaps his fingers, and Meliodas is basically seemingly, well, actually no, the electricity or the lightning bolt is flying towards Meliodas, as Meliodas basically says full counter as he counters it back at Deku. Deku's like putting his hand out, catching the electricity. He's starting to get pushed back by it because it was his own power with his like own magical ability in there. So Deku's power level is lower because he's away from the sun in this dimension. Although he could create one at any second. But he's like, I'm going to play with these fools a little bit. So basically Deku, after he basically managed to stop his own attack from doing any major damage to him, he's like, alright, Meliodas, was it? I'm going to show you the difference in power between the two of us. As Deku gets into like a throwing stance, as he grabs his sword and he yeets it at Meliodas, and it pierces Meliodas in his heart. And Meliodas is seemingly dead. Diane is basically like, Meliodas, because she's still in love with Meliodas around this point of the story. As Deku is like, nuisance. As he swipes his hand, and Diane starts to get ripped to shreds by the tornado as well. King's like, stop it, as he throws a chastity fold at Deku, which Deku catches it. He's like, pathetic, as Deku basically throws it at King, as King is barely able to like stop his own chastity fold. So yeah. On the outside of this dimension, our boy, I'm gonna say that in this one they sent Gother and Merlin out to get King. Not King, but they sent Gother and Merlin out to get Escanor. So they arrived back in the spot where they were supposed to meet. But then, Merlin's like, this is bad. I did sense a huge power level over here. Or battle power. And Escanor's like, yeah, it can't be anything that trumps or even towers over me. And then she's like, yeah, it's basically as equal as yours. And our boy Escanor's like, equal, huh? Yeah, whatever, I'm probably even stronger than him. And she's like, prideful, I see. And then I'm gonna say King's like, yeah, not King, I keep getting King and freaking Gother mixed up for some reason. Gother's like, yeah. And we go back into the dimension as, yeah, Deku just freaking bodied the 7 deadly sins as he looks over to, like, towards Elizabeth, as he's like, alright, it's your turn. As he basically puts his sword out, well, his hand out, as a gust of wind blows his sword back, from Meliodas' body. It cuts Meliodas a little bit, so basically Elizabeth's like, stop it, and then Deku's like, alright, as his sword flies towards him. Deku catches it, he starts walking towards Elizabeth. So, Deku puts his hand up, and his sword starts to basically, yeah, nothing really happens. It's just that the wind starts to form around his sword like a small tornado. Deku's basically like in front of Elizabeth, and he says, die. As he brings his sword down, just to be punched in the gut, sending him flying backwards. So Deku gets up, and he's like, what the hell? As he looks up to see, well, a foot in his face, and he gets kicked back. So Deku is basically, he rolls around on the ground a little bit, and he like senses that they're in front of him again, so he uses Flash Grace to get out of the way. So Deku looks up, and he sees our boy Meliodas in his demon transformation. I'm gonna say like his second demon transformation. Like, yeah, his, like, when it's like, well, like when his his demon mark is covering his entire forehead. So Deku's like, interesting. As basically he flashes towards Meliodas, throwing a punch, which Meliodas dodges, and Deku's like, what? As Meliodas throws like a right hook. Actually, I'm gonna say Meliodas throws a slash at Deku's chest, which connects, and Deku starts to bleed. He's like, shit. As he flashes out of the, well, he basically flashes, and he leg sweeps Meliodas. And then Deku's like, I can't afford to hold back anymore. As Deku flashes again, and he kicks Meliodas in the back, sending him flying upwards. So Deku's basically like, alright. As he puts his hand out, and he's like, heed my commands. Holy dimension, basically. As then a sun appears. As Deku's like, alright. As he reaches towards the sun, which Meliodas is directly above the, like, not above, but like he's directly underneath the sun, which is higher in the dimension. As Deku's like, he basically pulls his hand down, which then the sun starts to fly towards Meliodas, which it hits Meliodas. Actually, no. I'm going to say that Meliodas full counters that thing and sends it flying back upwards. But, of course, Meliodas sustains some damage due to how powerful it was. So, then, I'm going to say that full counter, which sends an attack back double its original strength, rips a hole through space and time, which everyone gets sucked back out to the real world. Our injured Deku is basically standing out there, and then Merlin's like, a holy knight. And Escanor's like, oh. As they look and see that King Bon, who is basically just trying to put his head back on to find his head, basically, and Deanne are basically all out for the count, with leaving only Meliodas, who's looking really weird, Elizabeth, who is untouched, and Hawk, who is also untouched. So they walk over to Elizabeth, and they're like, what's happening? As Elizabeth's like, I don't know. We came over here thinking that guy was... Well, basically, that guy was, I'm gonna say... Well, Hawk says it, hold on. Hawk said that he felt, he's seen a huge power level from over here. So Meliodas said that he thought it might be Escanor. We came here, and then that guy attacked us. Ah, shit, that hurt. So, Merlin's like, he must be a holy knight. But he's not a holy knight, that I've ever seen. He looks young. Sorry. Sorry about that. As Deku's looking towards Merlin and Escanor. So Deku's like, basically breathing heavily, as then, I'm gonna say Merlin and Escanor starts to notice that he's starting to get stronger. So Escanor's like, he's releasing a huge amount of heat. as he's like, Escanor puts his hand up where he still has, well, his axe up, and he brings it down towards, well, for a chop towards Deku, which Deku basically just manages to jump out of the way of, which the shockwave alone still sent Deku flying. So he did like a one-handed backflip, or front flip, not backflip, which he lands on his feet. And he basically flashes in front of Escanor, which Escanor basically finna grab Deku. As Deku flashes again, actually I'm gonna say that Escanor grabs Deku, and then Deku flashes again, and he's like out of Escanor's grasp, which Escanor's like, oh, alright. As he throws his axe, which I'm gonna say that it just barely misses Deku's head. So Deku's basically on the floor right now, as he's like, basically breathing heavily. He's like, yeah, this shit ain't me. As he tries to flash out of there, but Merlin's like, yeah, not having that, as he's stuck in a perfect cube. Oh, God. I don't know, I just like to bite the skin on the side of my lip for some reason. Not the side of my lip, but from the, like, inside of my lip. So, Deku's basically just lying on the ground like, shit, I'm dead. I'm gonna die this early on in the game. As he gets up and he's like, nah, I'm not dying yet, basically. As he puts his hands in the air. And then a sun starts to form, which they're like, that's like Escanor's basically. Escanor's just looking surprised, like, oh, so he was born with it as well. As basically Deku starts to grow a little bit bigger in size, as he creates a full sun. Not full sun, but like a cruel sun. Which he's trying to break out with it, but he just basically exhausts himself. So he's basically trying to do this all day long until nightfall hits. And the other Sins get up from their, well, basically from being knocked the fuck out. Meliodas calmed down. From Elizabeth. They're like, damn, that kid's strong. As they're looking over at Deku, who is currently sitting down, exhausted. And they're like, his power level, well, his battle power, it's lower than what it usually was. Well, what it was in the daytime. And Hawk estimates his Deku's battle power 100,000 basically. And then they're like, 100,000? So Merlin's like, he could have sunshine. And then they're like, nah, but Escanor has that. And then, yeah. Due to some things in the real world that's happening for me, I'm gonna have to end this video right now. Thank you for watching. The next video, actually, I'm gonna say, yeah, the next video will be, I'm gonna say around next week. So, the only reason why you're getting this a day after I posted the first one was because someone won the lottery. Well, basically, that's what I'm gonna call it. Someone won the lottery and was asked for this one again. So, I'm gonna have to end it off here. Thank you for watching. If you guys can hit 100 likes, I will post it if you can hit 100 likes this week, I will post it sometime this week. But if you don't hit 100 likes, I'll just post it the next video whenever I feel like it. Thank you for watching, and peace.